Good afternoon and welcome to round 5. It's another glorious day of racing here in the Ferrari Challenge Series at Hockenheim in Germany. I'm Clive James McNeil standing in for Dave Richardson. Today it's race 2 in both the CoppaShell and the Trofeo Pirelli, and it's a Ferrari CoppaShell which is next up. Already had quite a bit of action here today, and various superstars from the world of Formula One turning up to enjoy a day's racing here. Round 5, CoppaShell. The race is over 30 minutes from a rolling start. They're already on the grid, and it's the number 151 Style F Squadron Corsa 458 Evo of Thomas Loefflad. It's leading the championship at the moment, still leading after race 1 yesterday. He's on 149 points, just losing 7 points to yesterday's winner, the Kessel Racing, Rick Lovett, the Canadian. He was second with 96 points at the moment, and Dutchman von Scheltema dropping to third. He's only on 93 points. So a good day's racing needed by quite a few people, and it was Rick Lovett who was absolutely brilliant yesterday, taking the race win from pole position, and let's see if he can do it again. Another Canadian out there as well. Watch out for Eric Chung. He's doing very well. There's the track, 4,574 metres of half of it extremely fast. The other half, well, it's very tight and twisty. 30 degrees the air temperature, track temperature over 40 degrees. And as the heat haze rises off the ground, you can actually see, you know, that it is yet another brilliant day. If you were with us yesterday, just as hot as yesterday. And the racing itself is going to be just as hot as well. Two gentlemen drivers. Well, the qualifying has really thrown it all up. We've got Eric Prinoth alongside Rick Lovett on the front row here today. Rick Lovett once again putting in the fastest time, 1:43.773, 0.14 of a second in front of Eric Prinoth. Eric, well, he's been around since he was racing the 360 back in 2000, I think. So he's been around in the series for quite a long time, and quite a lot of races under his belt as well. And he's starting just alongside, as I said, pole sitter Rick Lovett, who waited quite a while to put in his fastest lap, but did it in style with the Kessel Racing Evo. And of course, Eric with the Inaco MP racing machine behind him on the grid. Thomas Loefflad, the Style F Squadron Course Machine 151, needs to do something here at home in Germany, because he didn't manage to do it. Got second in race 1 and really needs to push a little bit harder. Rick Lovett showing the way to go and pulling away from the field by nearly a second a lap for most of the race yesterday. And let's see if he can do it again today. Times in qualifying, well, 1:46.7 was the best lap for Thomas Loefflad, 1:45.7, and that second still seems to count for the Canadian Rick Lovett, who is emphatically on pole by a second. In fact, just under a second. Eric Prinoth alongside on the grid, though, this time. And just looking at the times that have come up, Loefflad 43.997, and but it's the two gentlemen races 43.921, which was the final lap time that Eric Prinoth put in. This is because in qualifying, although you see some of the times, you see the classification in qualifying, some cars' lap times are invalidated due to exceeding the track limits, as they say, getting a little bit wild and wacky, coming out the corners and just going too far out. And von Scheltema was one of those who had his lap time taken away. That's I'm looking at one of the others as well for the CoppaShell, CoppaShell, the Claudio Schivoni and Eric Prinoth, all having problems yesterday and having lap times taken away. Eric Prinoth was able to do yet another good lap, though. And looking a little bit further down the order, here's Holger Harmsen. Now, Holger Harmsen, unfortunately, down on the 7th row at the moment. Best career result on the 458 was 3rd, and he really does need to do better than that, because he's not a gentleman driver. He knows exactly what he's doing. The Lueg Sportivo Evo is a little bit too far down off the grid at the moment for him to do anything. Thomas Loefflad, though, second row of the grid. His times show that nothing he can do so far in qualifying and practice has been able to take anything away from Rick Lovett, the Canadian in the Kessel Racing machine, and he's on pole at the moment. Of course, we've had quite a bit of action already here on track. We've had interesting events going on. The whole Ferrari challenge thing brings in a lot of entertainment from outside, including Ferrari's Formula One driver Sebastian Vettel in attendance here, as well as other Formula One drivers. Marc Genet was there as well. And Sebastian Vettel, of course, getting on. I think I was told it was a 2013 car that he was taking around. Well, there you can see it. Probably people better informed than I will know exactly what that car is. And did a couple of laps. Also did a pretend pit stop. They had problems with one of the rear tyres in front of the grandstand, which is not really what you want to do. But so the pit crew having a look at this, coming in for a quick pit stop. Front tyres, no problem at all. Getting the rear right one on was a big problem, and they decided not to show that, but a couple of big donuts in front of the crowd kept them entertained, and a big team photo just before all this happened as well. But back to the real reason that we're here, the CoppaShell Ferrari Challenge. The drivers getting ready to go. As I said, 30 minutes out in racing. And last time we were out yesterday, 3 minutes to go here, but last time yesterday it was Rick Lovett on pole. Just absolutely flew away from the start. After the rolling starts, Rick Lovett absolutely in control and catching everybody else napping at the back. Von Scheltema left on the outside and quite a few people getting past. In fact, Eric Prinhoff got past as well. And we decided to have quite a big battle between the drivers behind Eric Prinhoff and Thomas Loefflad, both together all the time. Thomas Loefflad almost getting taken out by Prinhoff, the number 181, and eventually Prinhoff being able to force his way through, but it all came to nothing because Thomas Loefflad took it back again. Eric Prinhoff eventually finishing in second place. Thomas Loefflad in front of his home crowd on a podium in second place, but Rick Lovett from start to finish the winner in race one. Other battles going on. There was a huge battle further down the field yesterday between Vladimir Hladik, number 144, and Tommy Lindroth, which we were concentrating on all the way through. But in final qualifying today at the CoppaShell here at Hockenheim in the Ferrari Challenge, the race winner from yesterday, Rick Lovett, once again just waited to the last minute to go out and put himself on pole position, 143.773 in front of Eric Prinhoff, the long-time gentleman driver who's been racing very well this afternoon. Tom Loefflad in third place and Eric Chung alongside, who had an absolutely blazing start in race one from the fifth row. Then Gustner and von Scheltema behind on row 3, Hladik and Len Dudis together on row 4. As we go a little bit further down the grid, it's Sada and Schiavone all together on race 5. Look at the times, they're quite close together, 44.6 versus 44.7. Expect some battles all the way through. Lindroth on row 6 in front of Kuhadaroglu, and then Harmson and Kinch together on row 7. And the ladies back on row 8, that race won by Deborah Meyer yesterday in front of Gustner. But this time Gustner really just wants to get her own back. She's qualified in front of her rival. They're both together on the same point, 6 points in the ladies' championship. Now it's time to go racing. They'll be taking a round on their formation lap under the green flag. This track, 4,574 metres. As I said, the weather's brilliant. They've got the fast parabolica out of the Bernie Eccleston curve when he's really starting to get fast, down to Parabolica, very, very hard braking into the hairpin, and then into the curb's fast corner up to the Mercedes Tribune. It gets slowed down as you go into the Motordrome section, through the Sachs curve, out of the Sud curve, up to the Nord curve, and all starting again. But we're starting just from the Sud curve to the Nord curve. That's where the start line is. And just before that, the safety car will peel in. Safety car today actually being driven by Beppe Scanetti. I think he was, if my memory serves me, 1995 Ferrari Challenge champion in the old Ferrari 348. That's going back a while. So the flag flying on the safety cars, they're all being led round. Reminder, Rick Lovett, wonderful race yesterday, unchallenged, and a second faster than everybody else on the grid, and he's proved it again here in race 2, and exactly the same. He wants exactly the same race as yesterday, to get out in front, control the race from the front. But I tell you this, I think that Eric Prinnoth will need to be right on his mettle to stay with them at the start. This is going to be very difficult, and we've seen Eric Chung from the 5th row of the grid yesterday blaze past everybody, well, most of the field anyway, to come into 5th place by the end of lap 1. So quite a few people, quite a few scalps taken by Eric Chung, the other Canadian on the grid. Of course, Rick Lovett's Canadian as well. So we'll see what he can do from the 2nd row. Thomas Loeffland, he's in front of his home crowd on the 151. The Star Left Squadron course machine really does need to prove himself. It's home. This is where it counts. And the points, well, Thomas Loeffland, although he's leading 149, it's Rick Lovett chasing after taking an extra 7 points away from Loeffland's lead yesterday. He's on 96 points. Von Skelterman now down to 3rd place. Eric Prinnoth in 4th place with 73 points, and then Eric Chung, who's leapt up the order a little bit, 49 points in front of Tommy Lindroth. Those are the points as it stands. Team points, well, it's Rosso Corsa all the way. 233 points to Star Left Squad course 186. But it's not what we're looking at the moment. We're looking at the points with 5 races left to go to get into the World Finals at Daytona, into the stadium section. And this is the time when everybody in the pits is saying, I'm totally concentrated. We're not thinking about anything else. This is where the race starts, and this is where it all happens. As I said, Rick Lovett needs to control this race from the front. There he is, the Italian flag striped down the front of his car, with Eric Prinnoth in the yellow car next to him. He's taken control and really gone with it, but Eric Prinnoth, I don't think, has been caught this time, but he's on the outside for the first corner. And Rick Lovett goes into the first corner. There's no problem with that. Nobody's got past him, but a little bit of bumping and barging down the bottom end of the field. Rick Lovett, 1st place at the moment. Eric Prinnoth in 2nd, but he's already under challenge, and there's already somebody spun. There's 2 cars involved there. And they've held quite a few people up behind them. See how that was a little bit later on, but they've all managed to get going again. Rick Lovett's from Eric Prinnoth, and it was Hladek, and I think behind them, but I think Hladek's no longer there. We'll have to see a little bit later on as they come round. Well, Rick Lovett's really put the hammer down now. He's been able to stay away from that, and that's Von Skelterman, the Shark car, down in what looks like 5th place at the moment, the Dutchman, and there's still some bumping and barging down there. So they come around Prinnoth, Hladek, Gustner, Skelterman, Len Dudis behind him, Kuhadaroglu, and it looks like Eric Chung, yeah, involved in that, definitely the 198, and he's down. Currently running in last place is poor Eric. A brilliant start for him, but a little bit too much on the inside and got tagged, I think, by one of the other drivers. And unfortunately, although he managed to get going again, look at this, Von Skelterman's really having a go now at Gustner in front of him. Thomas Gustner, the 177 is Skelterman, 161 is Gustner. And Skelterman, a little bit of damage on the right-hand side of that car, as you can see, a little bit of scrapes already. Behind him, the 133, it's Kuhadaroglu. But already the incident involving the 181 and 198 under investigation. So Eric Prinnoth, he's been having being looked at by race control, which I didn't seem to think that he was involved in that in any way, shape or form. But von Skelderma carrying damage on that machine, and that's 144. That's Vladimir Hladek. His opportunity has gone. He spun out, and that means that everybody else moves up. Prinoth now will be in second place from Lovat, but Lovat's really going, and sector 1 that time around, the fastest sector time. He's already done the fastest lap time, and really pulling out on this battle going on behind him. It's Kuhadaroglu on the outside, then Dudi's trying to get up the inside of him right there. But 133 Kuhadaroglu in control from the outside, but he's down in 5th place. That's the battle that we're looking at the moment. There's 102. Schiavone down in 7th place. And read another look at that spin. There's Eric Chung having a look up the inside, gets tagged, gets spun, gets hit from behind, and Eric Chung ending up having to start again from the back of the grid virtually, but really hammered by one of the cars behind him. And having a look, this is the damage that von Skelderma suffered by going into the back of Chung, and disappointment in the pits as well. That's under investigation. 181 and 198. And Eric Chung, unfortunately, out of the car and no longer taking part. Tom Luflad, 151. Looks like he's out of it completely as well. We'll have to see about that, but no holding back. Rick Lovett out in front, 112, and really stretching away. And look at this going on behind him. That's just not on whatsoever. Tom Gusner being spun out by von Skelterma, and Fon's just not caring about the damage to the front of his car. And that's just under less than 5 minutes of racing. We've already had incident after incident. Von Skelterma, damage quite evident on the front of that Kessel Racing Ferrari. Currently in front of the number 133 Kuhadaroglu. And Skelterma in 3rd place. Bit of a gap opening up between Lovett and Prinoth. We know that 2.7 seconds is that gap, and then it's down to the battle, which is basically led by von Skelterma. 11 seconds down on the leader, with Kuhadaroglu behind him and Len Dudis next along in 5th place. Then it's Schiavone in 6th place, Sada in 7th place, Harmson, who we were looking at, the 111 in 8th place with Tommy Lindroth behind him, 127, and then it's Kinch and Hladek, who's recovered a little bit to go in front of Tom Costner, and the number 183, Mayer. Chung unfortunately parked, he's out of it, so is Thomas Luflad. So we've had 2 retirements. Luflad in front of his home crowd, that's not going to go down well with the team and himself and his fans as well. Rick Lovett staying away from all of this. Look at that, 3 laps done, and that's all. Eric Prinoth plus 3.1 seconds, still being dropped. Von Skelterma 11 seconds down, then Kuhadaroglu 4 seconds behind him. So quite a bit of drama just at the start of this. Another look at the incident involving von Skelterma and Thomas Gosner, and Thomas being spun out. Now I really don't know who's at fault there. You'd think immediately it's von Skelterma, somebody running straight on. Oh, that's Kuhadaroglu, straight on across the grass. 161 and 177 under investigation, as you would imagine. So von Skelterma and Thomas Gosner, the race controller, will be looking at that incident and seeing what penalties need to be applied. We have seen that in the past. In some races, if you've deemed to have caused or been involved and been directly a cause of an accident, your penalties probably would normally include grid places at the next race. But the battle now, Kuhadaroglu in front of Schiavone and Len Dudis. And then it's Sada and Hansen together on the track. Hansen, the 111. And Schiavone in the green and white Ferrari going through your picture. Then Lenduni Sada, and there's Hansen, 111. It's being chased hard by Lindroth now, 127. And out in front of them, Kuhadaroglu under pressure from Schiavone. Good pass from Fladek though on, I think that was Kinch he was just going past at the time. So once again back with von Skelterma, and Skelterma currently in third place and around about 5 seconds in front of Kuhadaroglu, but again he's under investigation, so he might actually lose that position, podium placing at the moment. Rick Lovett, well, it's nice to be able to get a picture of Rick, because the Canadian doing very well at a brilliant time in the championship, and this is what he needs to do: as many points as possible, go in, and so far he's got the fastest lap. You get an extra point for the fastest lap, you get an extra point for pole position, which he's got, so he's out to score maximum possible this weekend. You get a point for turning up, I will say that, for being on the entry list. So you get an extra 3 points in front, on top of the 20 points you get for a win. Only the top 10 scoring points here. Oh dear, Kuhadaroglu out of this race. And you see some damage on the side. The Kessel Racing machine is still available to get going. No, spun it around very nicely indeed. But that was 102 alongside of him, Schiavone. And he slams into the side of Schiavone, and I don't think that was Schiavone's fault at all, and that put him sideways. And unfortunately, you can't recover from that. He gets passed by everybody else. So Schiavone takes over that place. Then Dudis behind him. 161 is Gusner. I think she's drive-through penalty. That's it, causing a collision. 177. That means von Skelterma, they've decided what to do about him. So von Skelterma, because he's deemed to have caused that collision, will come in for a drive-through penalty. So as I said, potential podium position has gone for von Skelterma. Still love it though, opening up, and every time he goes through sector 1, he puts a faster time in. Really on the case at the moment is the Canadian. Meanwhile, we've got this battle going on. A little bit further down the order, though, that was over 10th and 11th place. Kinch and Gusner together. Thomas Gusner through there. There it is, up on your screen. Drive-through penalty for von Skelterma, 177, causing a collision. That's the one. Well, he's already carrying some damage before he even caused that collision. So he'll have soon see his pit board and be told to come in. Just a straight drive through, and that's not going to do his championship hopes any good at all. 93 points, he's in third place at the moment. Eric Prinoff still out on track and currently circulating in second place, not under threat, and not being able to threaten Lovett either. Over 4 seconds down on Eric Prinoff as Lovett screams past our commentary booth. And there goes Prinoff, 4.2 seconds. Still that gap, round about the same. And von Skelterma comes in. This is probably the slowest part of the race. Well, it definitely is the slowest part of the race, but it feels at the moment that he's going so slow he can get out and walk it quicker. The drive through of shame. And von Skelterma goes back out. Be way down the order. Once again, we have a look at the leader, Rick Lovett. Ferrari of Ontario is where he's from originally. 53 races. He's been racing for 4 seasons. Back in 2011, had his first podium. Well, first top 10 anyway, 8th place there. And best season in 2014. There's obvious gap between Lovett and Prinoff. There's Prinoff. 181, Ineco MP Racing Machine going through your screen. Not quite through your screen, across your screen. 4.1 seconds is the gap now between first and second. On board with Eric on our forward-looking camera. Got 2 cameras on board, and Loflad had the other one, but he's out of the race, unfortunately. So we've only got an on board from Eric Prinoff, the Italian. And look at that gap. It's a huge gap between him and Schiavone of 20 seconds. And it was all due to those incidents at the start after Rick Lovett stayed away from it all, got a perfect start and started breaking away from the rest of the crowd. There's Schiavone, 102, now promoted to third place. As von Skeltemer, we've got the little notice up on the timing screen that says that's his outlap. And of course it's his outlap and he'll still be losing places, but he's apparently been able to rejoin around about 6th place. So that 20 seconds between Prinoth and Schiavone has in a way helped Skeltemer out, because otherwise he would have been at the back of the pack. And that's a big gap between the leaders, and Schiavone down in 3rd. Here's Eric Prinoth. Inico MP Racing, 66 races he's had now, 6 seasons of full-on racing full-time, but he did start way back in 2000, as far as I know, with 360. Best season last year, he was 3rd in the CoppaShell, so although one of the gentlemen drivers, quite hot on what they're doing. Schiavone and Harmson together on the track in 6th and 7th. Hladek behind them, so it's a real battle going on here. Tommy Lindroth involved as well on the 127. Lendudis and Sada now, the 166. Sada is promoted to 3rd place. Lendudis behind him, and then it's Skeltemer in 5th place. There's Skeltemer in front of Schiavone and Harmson, and actually he's way in front of Schiavone, because Schiavone seems to have a problem travelling really slowly on the outside of the track and everybody else going through. Mechanical problem for the person who was promoted into 3rd place. It's now Schiavone who's dropping down the order, and a mechanical problem for him will rule him out of any decent result here. Von Skeltemer getting involved once again on the outside. Wasn't his fault that time, he was clouted, tried to stay out of the way. But even after the drive-through penalty, and look at that, smoke coming off from a broken wheel of poor old Schiavone. That means Prinoth stays in 2nd place, no problem, because they're way ahead of the bunch here. Eric Prinoth actually just put in the fastest first sector on that last lap, so he's not letting Lovitz open up much more of a gap, not that he needs to. That gap between 1st and 2nd is 4 seconds. And then Sada 27 seconds down. Von Skeltemer will be chasing him and trying to get back into a podium position. He's got time to do it. Half the race left to go. Unbelievable the amount of action we've seen in the first half of this race. But Von Skeltemer, as you can see, he's broken away from Lendudis behind him. Then Triple One Harmson. Then Vladimir Hladek. A warning flag, car 131. So Lendudis having a warning flag for something. We'll have to look out for that. The 131 just going through. And behind him is Henrik Harmson. And they're both chasing von Skeltemer. And von Skeltemer looking, I must admit, a little bit slow, as Lendudis is looking at trying to get past him. Maybe a little bit of a moment, more than that we've seen. And von Skeltemer being involved in quite a bit in this warning flag for car 131. That is Lendudis, Crichton Lendudis from Greece, motor service machine. Von Skeltemer, whatever happened to him, he's been able to break away just a little bit now, and that's Vladimir Hladek in the 144, currently in 7th place. Behind him is Lindroth, and then Tommy Gosner, and then Kinch and Manuela Gosner. Not bad for the lady driver. She's in 11th place at the moment. That's number 183. As you can see, Manuela Gosner having a close look at her. In front of Deborah Meyer. So with Deborah Meyer beating Gosner in the first race positions reversed in this. And the one good thing about Manuela Gosner is the fact that she's in 11th place. She gets another place in front if she can close up on Kinch in front of her. It's just a matter of 1 second, less than a second. She can score a point in this. The first top 10 across the line score points in this race. Look at that speed. Von Scheltema, even with damage, 258 kilometers an hour. So not quite the fastest lap, but the fastest top speed we've seen so far. Von Scheltema. No, he's in fourth, actually. It's Rick Lovett who's out in front, 261. So there's the top speed standings that you've got. And Eric Prinoff, of course, being in second place and uninvolved in anything and no damage in second with his with speed. So I thought that was very quick from Von Scheltema, but apparently Rick Lovett going even quicker. And his laps are counting more and more. 10 laps done. 11 minutes to go. Rick Lovett, 3.6 seconds. Eric Prinoff is catching him, but does he have time to do anything about it? Then it's Sada in third place. Right behind him is Von Scheltema by about 2 seconds, I say right behind. But with the way Von Scheltema's going, anything can happen, and Sada could be caught quite quickly from this. Jean-Claude Sada, the Rossa Corsa driver. Best lap in qualifying was 1:44.694, and so Sada at the moment a lot slower than that, doing 1:48s, and Scheltema's on the 1:47s and over a second a lap quicker than him. So Scheltema is on the way to catch Sada in front of him. You can see Sada there, a little bit of damage showing on the back of Sada's car. That gap coming down all the time. But you can see on one lap, lap 9, that Scheltema had a little bit of a problem. He's overcome that and starting to close right down and wants to get back onto the podium. Damage on the back of Sada's car, damage on the front of Von Scheltema's car, but they're in separate incidents, I assure you. You can't always say that it's gospel because Von Scheltema seems to be involved in many different other drivers' problems, one way or another. But look at the time he's making up on Sada at the moment. And that battle still going on behind them between Lindudi, Sladek, Harmsen and Lindroth. And so far, as we cut back to Sada and the chasing Scheltema, and this is some furious battling going on. Lindudi still leading in front of Vladek, the number 144. Harmsen behind him in the yellow car, and then it's Tommy Lindroth, 127 behind him. But Lindudis trying everything he can to hold off Vladimir Vladek, and Vladek is looking left and right to get past him. Tried the inside, but Lindudis good on the brakes is the Greek. Hasn't left the door open on the inside for that corner. Takes the correct line for the next corner, and still Vladek can't get past. Really needs to cover things behind him though, because right behind him, Henrik Harmsen in the 111, he's on the case. So is Lindroth, who's having a look at Harmsen on the inside now. Tommy Lindroth manages to do that. I can't believe that he's going to stop. The brakes light up on his car, and all that he managed to do. It looks really quick, but you have to stop at the end of that corner, and he couldn't. So Tommy Lindroth will have lost more than the place he had. Maybe he can get back in it, but I'm not sure. Might have just joined back in the same place, but it's still Lindudis in 5th place. Cars must respect the track limits. T1, car 177, Von Scheltema. So he's had another warning. And if he does that again, there'll be a penalty involved probably for the next race. Von Scheltema, I know he's chasing down Sada, and I know he wants a podium place, but you must stay within the track limits, otherwise you'll get a penalty. 131 Lindudis. Starting to come up against back markers here. Lovat's Well, his lead at the front has been cut dramatically by Eric Prinoth. That lead now down to 2.7 seconds, but he's got 7 minutes to do something about this, as Eric. And Sada still in 3rd place, von Scheltema still in 4th place. And 1:33 versus 1:31, so it's probably round about the same. 2 seconds down on Sada is von Scheltema, so that's going out of the track limits. Didn't really help his cause whatsoever, held him back. Then it's Ladek in front of Lendudis, so Ladek's been able to get past. What I thought was a back marker was actually, when I was concentrating on Tommy Lindroth's problems, it was Ladek getting past Lendudis. So Lendudis now down into 6th place. There's Harmson in the 111 behind him, and then Tommy Lindroth, and then Gosner, the 161. Manuela Gosner still down in 11th place, still out of a point scoring position. Schiavoni's come into the pits, so him and Chung, the other two of the 3 retirements. Tom Loughlin we've lost earlier on in the race, and Ladek in 5th place, pulling away now quite dramatically from Lendudis. It's easy enough to catch them, getting past is the difficult thing, and then you can just get away. And there's brilliant representation of outbreaking yourself from Tommy Lindroth, 1:27. And this was Ladek having a go at Lendudis. Lendudis cut his nose off, but Ladek eventually getting past. And Lendudis now down to 6th place. Then Harmson, Lindroth and Gosner all together. And that's the gap now between Sada and von Scheltema. And Sada still holding on to that 3rd place. Just under 6 minutes left to go. Von Scheltema cut that 2-second gap down. It's now to under 1 second. And Sada really under some pressure here. Von Scheltema really on the case. Once he gets his racing head on, there's no stopping him. And what a sight to be seen in your rearview mirrors is that sharp-faced Ferrari bearing down on you. Reminder, Rick Lovett still leading this race, 13 laps in, 5.5 minutes to go in the race. Eric Prinoth in 2nd place, 2.9 seconds down. Realistically, Lovett just... Oh, von Scheltema not respecting the track limits again, going very, very wide, and that's just going to cost him. I know he's pushing hard and trying to get Sada within the next 5 minutes, but that is no way to do it, von Scheltema. Total drama is von Scheltema. Even interrupted the photo shoot, the official photo shoot on the start-finish line with Sebastian Vettel and Marc Genet to get a selfie with Sebastian Vettel. Ran back to the rest of the drivers lined up behind him with his thumbs up. A real character is von Scheltema, but you want to keep that character in check when you're racing. Sada, another escape for him because that gap was really coming down. Then Ladek. Back to the front, this is Rick Lovett, same as yesterday, pole position, fastest lap, and another race win, potentially in the bag should he cross the finish line before anybody else. I always say that because there's 4.5 minutes to go and anything can happen. There's Eric Prinoth behind him, trying to keep him in sight. Definitely closed up a little bit, but 2.9 seconds on the last lap meant that Lovett still got a little bit in hand. We shall see when they cross the stripe again if Eric Prinoth's been able to do anything about it. Less than 4 minutes to go, and I don't think he'll even imagine in his wildest dreams that he can close down that nearly 3-second gap on Lovett, but it doesn't stop you trying when you're out there racing. Sada 33 seconds down off the leaders and 2 seconds in front of von Scheltema, who never gives up. Eric Prinoth, that's who we're on board with in 2nd place. And that dot in going into the next corner is Rick Lovett. Smooth driving from the veteran Eric, one of the gentleman drivers out here. In fact, 2 gentlemen together, because Rick Lovett is over that certain age of 55, which classes you as a gentleman driver. But really putting the rest of them in shame. That shark face is still behind him as von Scheltema and Sada together. Sada in the Rosso Corsa machine. Rosso Corsa leading the championship, the team's championship, on 233 points. Styler Squadra course. behind them. Von Skelderman for Kessel Racing. Kessel Racing well down the order in 149 points in the team standings. But that's not the one we're looking at. We're looking at what Lovett can do to close down on Thomas Loefflad. Loefflad out of this race, not scoring any points whatsoever, which really plays into the hand of the Kessel Racing. Rick Lovett leading this race, scoring maximum points so far. Still the fastest lap of the race with 2.5 minutes left to go. Sada still holding off von Skelderman, who every time he seems to get close, seems to lose it a bit and go off the track. That including a drive-through penalty. Still wants to get onto the podium, still has a chance to do it as well. Depends what's going to happen behind him. Sladek in front of Harmsen, then Lindroth and Tommy Gusner in 8th place. Len Dudis now down to 9th place. Kinch and Manuela Gosner. Well, it's still around about a 2-second gap between them. So Manuela Gosner, she needs to get a top 10 place to score a point, and I don't think she's going to do it. She can only score brownie points basically on Deborah Meyer, who's behind her in 13th place because Meyer won the Ladies' Cup in race 1. But it will be time for Manuela Gosner to get on top of the podium as well. There's Tommy Gusner, her brother, 161, just going through. The triple one is Henrik Harmsen. And there's Len Dudis, number 131. Unfortunately dropping down the order, 9th place he is at the moment and losing time. In front of him, Tom Gusner, Orange Machine. There's Kinch going through. There's Manuela Gosner. You can see the gap between her and Kinch. But unfortunately, we're on the final lap and there's nothing that she can do about it in this final lap. If she hasn't done it by now, there's nothing you can do. Rick Lovett on his final lap will come out of this scoring a maximum points. Those 3 extra points, 1 for pole position, 1 for fastest lap, 1 just for being there. Plus 20 points for the win. He's on his final lap as these few come out of the stripe, and of course they're around about a minute down on this man, Rick Lovett, the Kessel Racing Machine. It's been a perfect racing weekend for him. Tools round the next few corners. And Eric Prinoth, although he closed up just a little bit, 2.7 seconds, only 0.2 of a second over the past 2 laps, he's already flashing his lights. Here's Eric saying, anybody in front of me? Out of the way, please, I'm coming through. But the Canadian, I think that's just to say that, look at this, I haven't been challenged so far, just need to get out and do this and have my perfect full set for the race weekend as he's into the stadium section. As the Kessel Racing Evo roars out of the final corner, Rick Lovett goes across the stripe. A perfect weekend, a race 1 win, now a race 2 win, full set of points, fastest lap and pole position. That is a total of 46 points for the weekend, the maximum you can get. And he's taking that away, especially seeing as behind him in the Gentleman's Cup is von Skelderman, who finishes behind him in the race, down in 4th place. And so he'll stretch away from that. But more importantly for him is Thomas Loefflad leading the championship on 149 points, does not score any points here in race 2. That gap is going to close up for the next race when we go to Jerez de la Frontera. Out of the final corner, Henrik Harmsen crosses the stripe in 6th place, followed by Tommy Lindroth in 7th, then Tom Gusner in 8th, Ken Lendudis in 9th, and Kinch retains that final point in 10th place. But the team manager of car 166 reports to the stewards afterwards. That's the stripe I'm getting at. 166 is, of course, just having a look at 116, no wonder I was looking for something, is Sada is apparently, the team manager, is being called up to talk to the stewards. Now, I have no idea what this one's all about. Sada coming across the line. That's 133 you're seeing there. Sku Haderoglu managed to get going again after his problems. Crosses the stripe in 12th place. And Deborah Meyer will be the next one across the line and the final finisher. Number 108 comes out of the last corner and she beats the other lady driver, Manuela Gostner, in the last race, but not in this race. This race wasn't kind to her at all. So Deborah Mayer, unfortunately, not on the podium this time. That honour is going to go to Manuela Gostner. But what a fascinating race, and I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the stewards when they try to sort all that lot out. No problems at all, though, with Rick Lovett. The Canadian, now 54 races. Keep updating it every race. 54 races, debuted in this class at Monza in 2013. Third in the championship. Of course, he's been racing in the Americas series before coming over to Europe. I think the competition, and this is just a personal opinion, is a little bit tougher in the European series than it is. Third place provisionally for Jean-Claude Sarda for the Rossa Corsa machine. It's one of the gentleman class of drivers. And Manuela Gostner, she's the winner of the Ladies' Cup this time out. Rick Lovett, perfect weekend, as I said, from start to finish, as he gets helped out of his car. Hot day today, 31, 32 degrees, track temperature well over 40 degrees. And some furious racing, but it's hard even if you're unchallenged in front and don't have any threats from behind. He didn't. He tried to say to himself, right, this is the way I'm going to do this race, exactly the same as race one. Eric Prinoff, though, tried everything he could to close down on Rick Lovett.
I love it very much.
He loves it. He loves it very much, he says.
Oh. Nice race.
Nice race.
Very fast.
Very fun. Very fast. And 166, Jean-Claude Sarda. Also Corsa driver, Ian Park-Fermé.
Oh.
Good, good. Manuela Gostner, she gets congratulations now from her team. Enjoyed that. That was, well, they'll say to me, go on, well, what happened during this race? Oof, we'll have to find out. Rick Lovett, 17 laps. There's the official race classification with Prinoff in second place, then Sarda in third, von Skelterman not being able to chase it down in fourth. So from the start, Rick Lovett getting away in front, but then it all started to kick off behind them. Eric Prinoff able to stay away from all the problems as people were just a little bit too fast into some corners. And then Eric Chung, unfortunately, a spin for him meant that he was going to hold up a lot of people behind him. Eric out of the race is one of the first times he was out of the race, but also involved in that was von Skelterman, who got hit and then got hit again. Was involved with Tom Gostner, pushing him out, for which he's going to have to report to the stewards and had to do a drive-through penalty. Meanwhile, Rick Lovett straight out in front, unchallenged, except for when Eric Prinoff started to keep him honest and he was seen in his wing mirrors and needed to keep it going. Meanwhile, von Skelterman again outside the track, but that wasn't his fault that time and got a little bit clouted. And the 102, unfortunate for Schiavone, involved in a problem that wrecked his front wheel, and he was out of the race. Manuela, though, the leader in the ladies class, managed to keep in front of Deborah Meyer and retain that, but across the stripe it was Rick Lovett with the perfect weekend. Race wins, fastest laps and pole position in both races, with Eric Prinoff in second place and Sarda provisionally third. She's liking that, Manuela Gostner. And there are the cars all lined up, waiting for them to come upstairs to retain it, to take some more trophies home. Rick Lovett could not have done more in this race weekend. Crowd given some amazing entertainment, particularly in that race, and quite a bit of damage to sort out after this. As the helicopter flies overhead, it's time to get up onto the podium for the winners here. Now, Rick Lovett will be getting 2 trophies. He's the race winner, overall race winner, but also he's the top gentleman driver, so he'll be getting a double trophy for that. 2 separate championships going in here. The overall championship, the gentleman's championship, and then, of course, the ladies' race as well. So that's it at the moment. Thomas Leflad didn't score any points in that race. Rick Lovett, the maximum over the weekend, brings him up to 118 points. Von Skelterma, 103. And Eric Prinoth now up to 88 in front of Eric Chung. And Tommy Lindroth, Vladimir Hladek. Not a bad race, but he's even on points with Tommy Lindroth. And although he finished in front of him, that's good news for him. But, Jean-Claude Sada, 3rd place. Yeah, has to check on the number first. Which side do I go? Eric Prinoth. And you'd think that when you saw them racing, you wouldn't think that these guys are over 55 and gentleman racers, but all 3 of them are. Rick Lovett from Canada, up on the podium. Perfect weekend for him. He could not do anything better. And Manuela Gosner up on the podium. Deborah Mayer had hers in race 1. Manuela Gosner gets hers in race 2. Racing family. David races in the other championship. Now the anthem.
What a welcome.
Brilliant racing, and for this podium, there is not one overall driver on there. They're all gentlemen drivers that fill the podium here at Hockenheim for race 2. Von Scheldemer tried everything he could to get a podium place here. The Dutchman going absolutely everywhere on and off the track and trying to squeeze past everybody and going away with a 4th place, but damaged, but no podium and no more trophies for him this weekend.
Well done. Congratulations. This looks good.
Jean-Claude Sada gets his. Eric Prinoth, yet another one. This looks good. Yes, it does. It's a beautiful trophy to own. And the Ferrari Challenger was coming up with some really, really nice silverware. And who is that? Sebastian Vettel with the official prize giving to Rick Lovett. And Manuela Gosner even getting a handshake as well from the Formula 1 champion. And Kessel Racing, of course, taking this. It's not the same as having a hand shaken by Sebastian Vettel, but it'll do. He gets another one. Sebastian Vettel back out again for another trophy because he's a gentleman racer, and so he gets 2. He gets the overall win trophy and the gentleman's trophy as well. But Manuela Gosner gets the Ladies' Cup and a little slip of paper. I don't know what's on that. Don't look at me, don't know. You can have your hat now, says Rick Lovett, who talked to them all when the Canadian national anthem came up to take their caps off. They eventually did. And this is a picture to put on the wall. Sebastian Vettel right at the end, and all those trophies, and the only person not holding a trophy, Sebastian Vettel. Makes a change. Rick Lovett opens the bottle first before anybody else, but Manuela Gosner is not being denied. She's going to get hers in as well. There's a battler. Here's a warrior still going on, so they can have some of that. Their racing for the weekend is over. Keep some of that champagne and share it. But Jean-Claude Sarda, there's some of the damage on his machine. Here's Eric Prinoff, second place. And no damage, staying away from trouble. It's what you want to do for your team. But the ideal thing is to win them as well and take away the fastest lap and take away the podium, the pole position point as well. Excellent extra points, and that has closed Rick Lovett right up on Thomas Loeffler, a reminder that did not score any points this weekend. And of course, Sebastian Vettel there as well. What more could you want for a Ferrari Challenge weekend?